Hello, hello. How are we all? Welcome to this bodyweight strength class. Today you will need a resistance band or towel or jumper. If you don't have a resistance band, if you're using a towel or jumper, just give it a roll up, and then you can hold it nice and tight. I've also got a yoga block. Oh God, I can't even point at it. A yoga block that's behind me. But if you don't have a yoga block, you can use a stack of books, a pile of cushions, a small step, whatever you've got laying around. And it's only for a modification, so you might not need it. See how you go. So we've got 3 circuits. Each circuit has got a squat move, a deadlift move, and a push-up move. Each circuit builds on the last. So circuit 1 is going to be a nice laying a nice foundation, acting as a bit of a warm-up, getting used to the movements, and then each circuit will then build on the last. So we're adding in more variables, more skills as we go along, just to up the spice, more challenging. To scale, obviously there will be scaling options anyway, but if you are not happy with the like the additional things that are going to go on in the second and third round, you can stick to round 1, because remember, you can repeat this workout whenever you want. So when you're ready to then try those scaling options, you can come back to it and try them. But if today the exercises in circuit 1 are more making you feel more comfortable and are more what you're looking for, then stick to those, because there really are no hard and fast rules. Make sure you give your body the experience that you're looking for. So it can feel challenging and hard work, but it shouldn't feel awful. So make sure that you're accessing all the movements in a way that makes you feel your best today. All right, let's get started. Have no planned interruptions unless somebody knocks on the door. The dog is also snoring in the background, so sorry if you hear that, but we will get started. We're going to start with the pivot squat that we did last time. I've got to get rid of my slippers. I always recommend bare feet because you get a good like grip on a hard floor, and it just means that like you've got no material like bagging around the bottom of your foot. But we're going to start with the pivot squat. So for those of you who didn't do last week's workout, this follows along really nicely. Pivot squat, both feet facing forward, and then you step out. So one is then facing the opposite wall, and then you lower yourself down in between your hips and step out, and then opposite side. So lovely. Get started with me. We're going to add in that reach overhead on this one. So reaching up as you lower in. So you can hold your band. We'll get the band on the next round because it will just help us focus with the little variable that we're adding in. So I'm going to just go for about 12. Nice reach. And remember, this is just easing yourself in. So yours might be more here. It's absolutely fine. Use the range of motion. If that feels good for you. Reaching up as you get into the bottom. Lovely. One more. Awesome. Right, shake that off. We're going into our deadlift. So single leg deadlift. Deadlifts all involve a bend at the hips. And what we're focusing on is feelings in the hamstrings and the glute in one leg. So you're going to step one leg back, and then you're going to take both hands to touch down over the top of the foot that stayed on the floor. So stepping back, hips go back, bum shoots back, reach, looking for a feeling in the hamstring and the glute. Again, if you feel that feeling in the hamstring and glute here, you stop there. Give your body the feeling that you want. Doesn't have to look like mine. And really focus on pushing that glute. Reel back, like right back there. Chest tips towards the floor. Lovely. Going for about anywhere between 12 and 16. Obviously, make sure you've done the same amount on each side, or do more or less. I can already feel myself getting very warm. I don't know if that's a good sign or a bad sign because I've got a long sleeve t-shirt on. Lovely. I'm going to go for one more on each side, reaching down. Lovely. Right. The next one is down on the mat because it is a push-up variation. If you do not do mat work, skip this bit. And if you need help with alternatives, so any push-ups that you can do on the floor, you can do a similar version on an incline or against the wall. So if you need help with that specifically, let me know. I'll film some separate stuff. And then whenever a class situation comes about where there is something on the mat, you will then have an alternative to pick. But we're going to go with a half lower in a push-up into a cobra, which is quite a commonly known yoga movement. This can be done on the knees and in a full push-up position, so I will show you both. So in the full push-up position, you're going to lower halfway and then hips are going to come down, untuck the feet, push up into a cobra. Enjoy that nice bend in the back. The spine is designed to bend that way. Then retuck the toes, bring the hips off the ground, and you're back to the start. On the knees, it looks like this. Half lower, and then just sink the hips down, push up into the cobra exactly the same, untuck, but then just bring yourself back onto the knees, okay? Going for anywhere between 6 and 8 in this round, okay? So pick your variation. You might start in a full position and then end up on the knees. That's very common. I do that all the time. Half lower, hips go down, untuck, push up, enjoy that back bend. It's probably a bend that you don't offer the body very much. Just lower the hips nice and gently. I'm going to go for 2 more. Oh, lovely. Right. Round 1 is done. Hopefully you're feeling nice and warm and your body is now prepared for round 2. So back to that pivot squat. I just realized I don't actually have a drink in here with me. Don't be me. If you need to, go and get a drink right now. I'll have to wait till the end. Unless I get desperate, I might have to just run to the kitchen and get it. So we're going to go back to that pivot squat. And this time we're going to reach, but then we're going to lean over the leg that moved. So resistance band or towel held about shoulder distance apart, just gives the hands, helps keep them sort of evenly spaced, gives them something to do as well. So when I step out into that pivot squat, I reach up, but then I'm going to just go whoop, lean over that other leg, and then a nice smooth return back to the start. So I'll show you that again. Reaching up, lean over that leg that moved, and then trying to come up and bring the band in all in one movement. Get your balance in between, and then it'll be the same on the other side, leaning over the leg that stepped out. If that feels not right for you today, just stick with the pivot squat and the reach overhead like we did in the first round. But we're going to go between, again, 12 and 16 in total. So again, you've got the even amount on each side. You can do less, you can do more. It's completely up to you. I was practicing these yesterday and my core, like your abdominals are working so hard in this, like it's unbelievable. So here we go, stepping out, reach, and then little lean back to the start. Don't worry if you do any kind of wobbling, that is completely normal. Leaning over the leg that stepped out. Now you might find you lose a bit of depth when you go for that lean. That is completely normal. And remember, yours could look like this. That's absolutely fine. Do whatever feels good for your body. We go for 2 more. Oh, this is hard work. The next round is going to be an absolute killer. Okay, back to that deadlift. Now we need the band again, and we're going to use it for a little whip. I mean, it's a rotation, but I like to call it a whip because it sounds better. So we are going to whip the arms under at the bottom of that deadlift. So as we step back, hands will reach forward just like they did in the first round, but then we're going to whip the hand out towards the leg that stepped back. So the hands are going like this. So one is coming under the other. Step back, reach down, ooh, get your balance, whip it out, step back up, and then when this leg goes back, that hand will go under that way. Okay, anywhere between 12 and 16 in total, same amount of reps on each side. All right, here we go. So stepping back, reach down, whip, and then snap it back up, reach down, whip. Oh, I did my arms wrong on that one, ignore me. Stepping down, right arm goes over left leg, and then left leg moves over right leg. Got there in the end. Sit, whip it round, reach and then turn. So don't try and do both at once. Step back. And really turn that body, that torso as well. Keep pulling apart on that band to get them shoulders involved. But I'm going to do one more on each side. Reach, whip, and one more. Ooh, I really felt that in the glutes and hamstrings. Right, back down onto the mat. Thinking, do I need to angle this down a little bit? Well, we'll do anyway. There we go. So instead of a half lowering down, we're going to go for a full lowering down. Now, just a tip for your push-ups. I mean, push-ups, there's many different variations, but to give yourself the best chance to push back up just while you're sort of learning, if you haven't done these before, is to make sure you've got all these stacked on top of each other. So wrist, elbow, shoulder, and have them directly under the chest. Now, it is a push-up variation to have hands slightly out or in or wide, but of course they are more challenging than having them directly under chest. And imagine that this part of you, your chest or sort of your lower sternum, is what's going to hit the ground first to stop you nose diving and to stop the hips falling. Obviously, we're going to do that on purpose anyway, because we're going to go into that cobra. And I'll show you both versions on the knees and in that full push-up position. So nice high plank, lower all the way down, untuck the toes, into cobra, retuck, come up back into that full push-up position. On the knees, it looks like this, lower all the way down, and then cobra, and then come back to the knees. Another good tip, have elbows making an arrow shape, so they're not going too wide into a T, and again, they're not too close to you. Again, they're both variations, they just bias certain muscles, but if we keep the hands like this and the elbows in making an arrow shape, we use more muscles, which means that we're going to find that we're a lot more efficient in that movement, and you might find it less challenging than if your arms went right out or were tucked in, focusing on other smaller muscles. So pick your variation, again, between 6 and 8, trying to control that to the floor as gracefully as possible, which is sometimes easier said than done. But if you do find you get to a point where you can't hold it anymore and you just fall, again, that's completely normal. You could just pop a cushion there to land on to make it seem a little bit more friendly than just smacking into the floor. But here we go. Choose your variation. If you don't like the full lower, go back to the half lower that we did in the first round and just focus on making that feel good as possible. So again, between 6 and 8, try and control that as much as possible. Chest hits the floor first. Enjoy that back bend. Again, it's a position that we don't offer the body very often. It's a strange little noise that came out of my mouth because I was bracing so hard. I'm going to go for one more. Oh, there we go. My arms are tired. Right. One more round to go. Back to that squat. Now we're adding in another variable to that pivot squat. Again, if you're not into those little added bits, stick with the pivot squat we did in the first round, or if you got on with the one in the second round but you don't like this one, basically just stick with the one that you like the most and that feels good for you right now. And like I said, there's no point doing an exercise that you hate or that makes you feel horrible. Just give your body that experience. So we're going to go with a foot tap. So we're adding in yet another thing. We pivot out, reach overhead, lean, and then once we finish leaning, we're just going to tap that foot out and in, and then come back up. And what we're doing there is we're keeping ourselves in that end range for longer. So all those muscles that are stretched, like the glutes in that bottom position, have got to work even harder because we're staying there for longer. This will improve your squat overall because it is a squat-based skill. We're focusing on skill development by adding in variables. So if you're thinking, what is the point of all this? It will make you a better squatter just in general. It'll make you more skilled in squat variations, make you feel more confident, make you more mobile. Yeah, all good stuff. Okay, so again, going between 12 and 16 in total. Pick whichever version feels good for you, and here we go. So we are pivot, reach overhead, lean, foot taps out, and then back in. Okay, here we go. Little tap, and it doesn't have to be massive. It's only small. Remember, leaning over the leg that went out, little tap, back in. It will require you to put some weight in the leg that's not moving. Again, doesn't have to be big. If you can't tap, maybe just try and come onto the heel. See how that goes. So just bring your foot onto the heel. You don't have to move it. Try that. Oh, I forgot to lean. Ooh. That's it. Lean, foot tap. Make sure the earpods don't fall out. Tap. Back in. Ooh. 4 more for me, I think. Getting very hot. My obliques are absolutely screaming with that lean. Quads are on fire. Wow, that is tough. Remember, yours could look like this. You're working exactly the same muscles in exactly the same pattern. Work in a range that feels comfortable to you. God, I'm so out of breath. Right, we've got our deadlift, and we're going to introduce a whip while standing as well, in the opposite direction to the one as we step back. So if I'm about to step back on my right foot, which would mean left hand goes under at the bottom, I'm going to start by whipping this way, really rotate that round, twist all through the torso, back to the start, step, reach, whip it the other way, and then other side. So left leg stepping back, so I'm going to rotate out, bring that band all the way down the side of the body, step back, reach, bring it the opposite way. Really control those movements. You don't need to rush them. Rotating in the torso, again, it's something that people don't offer themselves enough, and it feels nice at the end of the day. Again, as long as you work in a range of motion that gives you the feeling that you want to feel and not anything horrible, then yeah, it will feel nice. So here we go. I'll do them front facing, which might help. So twist, and then right leg steps back, reach down, twist the other way. Right, and here we go. This way, whip, left leg goes back, twist. If you're doing your twists on the other side, it doesn't really matter. Again, you'll still be working muscles in the same way. So if you get them mixed up, don't worry. Whip it. I feel like I sound like a bop it machine. Whip it, bop it, deadlift it. Oh, did it see? Did it the wrong way. Deadlift it, reach it, whip it. It does say that, doesn't it? I've not just made that up. Reach. Whew. Now, if any of these exercises make you feel uncoordinated, I do apologise. I am the most uncoordinated person ever. So please don't let that put you off. Just try your best. Get some rotations in there. I'm going to go for 2 more. Lovely, right, relax. Oh, my obliques. Whew. Right, last exercise. I am actually sweating. This is where you might need your block. I'm just going to angle the camera down. So what we're going to do with our lower is we're going to introduce a leg lift as we lower down. But I'll show you all the options anyway. So here we go. Same as before, but when we lower, we're going to lift a leg. Chest to the floor, flop it down, cobra, back to the start, swap legs. Down. On the knees, it looks like this. And then you swap legs. If you want to go for the full leg lift, but your leg won't stay there, because that used to happen to me, you can pop it on something. So you set up with your leg. Let's get this in the right position. Set up with your leg on something. It'll give you the same effect, but you don't have to keep your leg in the air if it won't stay there. So that is an option for you to try. That was the only reason I had the block. So I'll switch to that one towards the end, just so you can see it more. But again, anywhere between 6 and 8. Remember that your chest and arms are tired from the previous rounds. So don't be surprised if you need to switch to an on the knees version halfway through. You might not, I don't know you, I'm making assumptions which aren't helpful, but that might happen. So I just wanted to put that out there. So here we go, setting up in whichever feels comfortable. Lift that leg, roll as much as possible, cobra it up, back to full, other leg. That's it. Roll that body down. I've done 4. I'm going to just switch to this one just to show you for anybody who is looking to try that one. Setting up with the foot on there. Finding it for the other foot. There we go, that's my 8 done. My word, absolutely sweating. Huh. I hope you enjoyed that. It was actually really challenging, so well done if you made it all the way through. But like with all these workouts, feel free to pause, repeat things that you enjoy, take the bits that you enjoy, and just give your body the experience that you're looking for. But yeah, thank you so much. Let me know what you thought. Let me know if you tried it, and have a lovely rest of your day. It's time for me to get a drink and eat something. All right, awesome. Speak to you soon, gang.